C is full of life. You know! Boy. Creatures.
Close.
Creatures.
Good job.
Life deep down.
That is live, but in this sentence it's pronounced live.
Live deep down below.
Reading can open up so many doors. So why not learn how to read as early as you can? I have found a way to teach my children how to read by 2 years old. And now my children are aged 1, 3, and 5. The 1-year-old is on the same path as the 3 and 5-year-old. My 3-year-old is reading at, I would say, like a 2nd grade level at this point. I'm not really sure. I didn't really test her. And they are just in love with reading and in love with the process. So I really wanted to share with you guys what it took for me to get them reading. It is not a sprint, it is a marathon. So I really wanted them to master things. So I'm going to show you step by step everything that I did from each phase, from 0 all the way to 3. Also, real quick, if you find this video very informative, please share it with your friends. I definitely know some people that I asked how did they teach their children to read early, and they really didn't give me good details. I feel like they just wanted their kid to be the only kid that could read early. So stingy. But I'm not like that. I'm your friend, and I'm going to share with you every single thing that I learned from my personal experience. So make sure you do the same favor and share this video so that all your other mommy friends can know how to teach their child how to read young as well. Infancy, phase 1, 0 to 1 years old. One of the first things you can do to help your child learn to read early is to actually read around them. It's super simple, but when they're little and they can't move and they can't do anything and they can barely see, the first thing you can do is hold them, read a book to them as much as possible. Get them exposed to words, exposed to language, and as well show them how you enjoy reading. So take a book around, have your book, read the newspaper. I wouldn't suggest reading from your phone in front of the baby because that just looks like screen time. It doesn't look like physical reading does. So I highly suggest sticking to books. Once the baby is able to sit unassisted, it's time for us to start showing them some sight words. Now I got this idea from Glenn Doman. I'm going to leave a link in the description bar below. But I watched these videos when I was pregnant or something with my son, and I got really interested in whole word learning, but it was only a portion of the way that I actually taught my children to read. So one of the first things I did is once they are able to sit unassisted, which is around 6 months old, depending on each individual child, I would begin to show them sight words. I would show them sight words, about 3 to 5 sight words, 2 to 3 times a day, depending on the day. I wanted to remain very consistent, so I didn't want anything that was too heavy, too many words, and too frequent. So we just stuck to about 2 to 3 times a day, 3 to 5 words a day. And we would rotate these words weekly. I wouldn't rotate out every single last one of them. I would leave 1 or 2 words that we did the week before just so that they see the familiar words and then pop in a few new words. I learned to laminate these things because babies, they want to grab it, and that's a part of the fun. They want to grab it and hold it, and they should be allowed to. This helps to continue to foster the love of learning to read. So don't be mean and say, no, you can't touch these cards. If they want to reach out and touch it, go ahead. But I highly suggest laminating them. Otherwise, you'll have to make some more. Now, here's another little tip. How many should you make? Personally, I prepped about 300 words. Don't get intimidated. This goes for a really, really long time. So I just prepped them beforehand. I didn't prep them all in one sitting, but I definitely prepped them ahead. And I would be prepared for new words that were coming up at all times. Another way to keep it really fun is to do a game asking the baby which one says what. So if you have the word play in one hand and hat in the other, you can ask the baby which one says play. And you will be surprised how many times the baby will choose the correct word. It's pretty awesome. Also, it's a good way to know that your baby is retaining the words if you teach them American Sign Language. And I mentioned that before. I love teaching sign language to my babies, and it was very helpful when they were learning sight words, because if I show the baby the word play, they literally would sign play. Or if I showed baby, baby. It was so crazy and amazing. Okay, after I showed about 50 words, that's when I started to introduce the alphabet. And I would just sing it like normal. I would use a poster so they could see the letters. But later on, I divide the letters up, and we'll get into that in a second. But I wanted to ask you a question. How old were you when you learned your ABCs? Do you remember? I don't remember. How old were you? Tell me in the comment section below. Toddlerhood, phase 2, 1 to 2 years old. Okay, at this point, continue using those basic sight words so that the baby is really understanding these words. We want them to master these words so they really will stick around for a very long time and be used in a lot of different ways.
Ready, set, go!
There.
You. 2. 1.
After working with these concrete words, meaning they understand that these words mean this action or you say it this way, but they don't understand the abstract part of all the letters that come together with specific sounds to make that word. That's the abstract part, and now it's time to introduce that with letter sounds. So at 1 year old, I decide to do letter sounds. I also laminate these things and I show them to the baby. And of course my baby sometimes steals them and throws them and laughs or even attempts to make the same sound. It's really cute. But Kelly, what's this say? Good. But I usually show around 3 to 5 letters a day, and I'll go over them 2 to 3 times a day. I will rotate and repeat, rotate and repeat. Here, mastery is extremely important because we're going to use that to build words and break them down phonetically. So what I like to do as well is to take letter magnets. I have them operating like movable alphabets in Montessori, but basically I'll take those sight words that I laminated and we will practice putting the letters onto the words. I also like to show them the letters and the sounds by physically putting a letter magnet in their hand and then saying the sound. That makes it more fun, and they love having their hands to help them retain things in the mind at this age. So giving them something in their hand and then giving them the sound is magic. Also, with my older 2, when they were little, we would play a game where they would race and go and find the sounds, and they would have to remember the sounds. So I would keep the letter magnets on the actual refrigerator, and I would have the sight word with me, and then they would each remember which letter they needed next in the word, and they would run to the other room in the kitchen, get the letter off of the refrigerator, say the sound, and bring it back and put it on the sight word. If you think that reading is fundamental, hit the thumbs up button, let me know. Okay, right. Next. Now this is when it gets a little bit tricky. We need to establish the fact that some letters have multiple sounds because we speak English and there are a lot of rules and it's really tricky. So I thought that Preschool Prep DVD really covered this for us very well, and I didn't have to do a lot of work because of it. No lie, I really love this DVD set. We used Preschool Prep letter sounds. We also used the whole phonics set, and we also bought some of the easy reader books and the workbooks to help them color in different letter sounds and blends and digraphs. They really mastered their blends and digraphs with the use of preschool prep, and that is for sure. Reading, phase 3, age 2 to 3 years old. So for my older two, who are now 3 and 5, by the time they were both 2 years old, they were able to read at 2. This is when I saw everything kind of come together. And let me tell you some of the things that we use to really bring it on home. So this is when I introduced to them the Montessori Pink series. It helps a lot in establishing the CVC word, which means consonant, vowel, consonant. And you use that in order to break down small words like cat, right? C-A-T is a CVC word. So I really loved this series. It was very hands-on, very amazing. Let me show you real quick what it looks like for us. All right, you guys, here is the Montessori Pink series that I was talking about that really helps teach the child in the next phase of reading how to put together CVC words, how to sound them out phonetically. Because remember, reading takes multiple skills. You should be able to phonetically break things apart, and you also should have a nice flow of knowing sight words. This really helped with the phonetics, and I love it. I'm a Montessori lover in general, but I ordered this from Alice and Montessori. But this is the container that I use, or organizer that I use to keep everything organized for showing them various parts. Now in here I have all the different things that I take to them for when I'm teaching them a lesson. This is a sheet of paper with vowels, but it comes laminated. Well, I bought it laminated, and this is a really fun game because it has the circles on each flower, if you can see. I don't know if the video is showing it correctly, but you can take these words and actually make different words with the vowels on each flower. So it has the circle out, so you go bag, beg, big, and so on, and the child really sits there and does the sounding out portion, makes the B sound, the A sound, the G sound, and notices that it makes a word. Once you finish practicing that, you have these key rings that have words on them, and you can just go by each CVC word and just have them go right through the words. I mean, they really can go through these, and you have them for all the vowels, and it's really exciting to watch them really learn how to pronounce and break down words that are CVCs. Now we can take it up the next level and start talking about those blends, those digraphs, those vowel digraphs as well. I mentioned this briefly with the preschool prep DVDs, which I thought were great for letter sounds as well as for digraphs and blends. And this is a good time where I incorporate posters. Posters are amazing to me. I'm really into Montessori, but this is actually something that is against Montessori, that you're not supposed to have the walls very busy. But I have noticed for my kids, it's super helpful in having this daily thing on the wall that they can always reference and use. And so each day we just go over all of the posters, the ending blends, the beginning blends, digraphs, long vowel sounds, short vowel sounds, and it just becomes this very casual thing that we just do on a daily, and it's really easy for them to just look up and see it. And sometimes they go over and just start touching it themselves and playing teacher, so it makes it very fun. Then what I like to do is write little notes around the house and also put them in their little lunchbox. Please give me a thumbs up if you think that little sweet notes to kids in their lunch boxes is adorable. My kids love it. They call it their secret note surprise, and they think it's a secret between me and them whenever they open their lunch boxes. And also just leaving little commands, short sentences around the house for them to read and practice makes it very interactive and seem like fun instead of boring drills. You know, we want this to increase their love of learning very early, as well as attain the skill of learning very early. Okay, so now we're at the point where the child is reading, and they even can do long vowels and short vowels, because even the preschool prep DVD goes over the silent E, and also the posters are going to go over the long A sound, the long E sound, and we always can talk about silent E right then and there. So now you've incorporated this, now you've written little notes using all of these different phonetic rules, and they are reading. Get them books that are on their beginning reading level. I'll share in the description box below some of my faves, but of course you're welcome to get whatever stories get you guys excited about reading. So please remember to subscribe, and as I learn new skills to teach the children and have the results for you, I will definitely do a next level teaching your child how to read even more complex structures and sentence structures and so on and so forth. And I'm really excited about doing that because I'm excited about teaching them. So you can see my passion here. Also, I wanted to give you just a couple bonus tips. Remember, don't make this a drilling thing. You know, if the baby grabs the words and runs off and plays, just let them have a good time. You know, the structure will come in time. It's not a sprint, it is a marathon. They will master these things over time. I usually spend about 10 to 15 minutes a day every day on these things. That is enough. That is much better than doing 1 hour 3 times a week. They'll be bored to death and they won't remember as much, in my opinion. So I think everyday practice with a little bit of time is really where you get it. Consistency is key. And lastly, I want to make sure that I give you guys as much as I can. If you have any additional questions, please ask me in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer it, because we parents and mommies have to stick together in this. We're on our modern day parent goals, you know, hashtag parenting goals. We're just trying to support our children and help them reach their highest potential. I hope that you have found this one helpful. Please share it with your friends. Don't be stingy. I definitely had some friends and some people that I knew who taught their children how to read young, and when I asked them, they didn't give me any real details on how they did it, so I had to find out for myself on my own. So now I'm sharing with you guys because I don't believe in being stingy. Sharing is caring, and like my 3-year-old says, share is always share. So I'm gonna leave you with a little clip of my 3-year-old daughter reading, and hopefully you guys are going to stick around and subscribe and see some of my other content. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Wait.
Upon the land, and the air, the earth has creatures everywhere. That's